Hello from the Adirondacks in New York. I'm Jim Perry, and this is a screencast of some material on compressors. This week, lesson 4 in music production. I think we'll look at some of the parameters of a compressor and some of the advanced parameters too. So more commonly used and the more uncommon used, but sometimes it's good to know what all of these are doing. We've heard things like threshold and ratios and attack and release, and these are all parameters that can be adjusted to give us certain degrees of compressing. So what is compression? Compression is basically taking a signal and reducing it automatically once it crosses a certain threshold. So I've got a project going here. I'm just going to bring up one of these compressors here. So those are some of these different parameters. Here we have the ratio is over here. Right now it's set to 1 to 1, so that means that the input signal and output signal are going to be the same. Threshold is the amplitude, this guy over here, at which the compressor will start kicking in. And you can see some from this bar over here that some of these signals are getting over that threshold. If I bring that threshold down, there, now some of my amplitude is over that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up this ratio. Now this ratio, if I set it to 2 to 1, like this, and this is telling me for every dB above that threshold, it's going to reduce it by a half. Now if I bring the threshold down even more, you can see the more my signal is getting a lot more gain reduction here. And here are the parameters, the attack and the release. And this one's attack is set to 10 milliseconds, which is fairly quick. Here is the result of having a kind of a very slow attack. If we increase this time, we'll see that this compressor is not able to keep up with the transients. There's one. See, it's kind of lagging a little bit. So let's turn it back and reset it. And now you can see that they are now tracking the transients of the kick drum. Similarly for the release is how quick that gain reduction is going to allow this compressor to come back to where it started. So if I take that and increase it, and you can see there it's taking a very long time to get back to where it started because I've got such a long release on it. I'll reset that. Those are the effects of some of the more common parameters. There's something called a soft knee. You see, as soon as this, let me put a lot of ratio on here. Let me really compress it. You see how abrupt that is. That once it gets over that threshold, it abruptly applies that. The compressor kicks in. If we have a soft knee, it's more of a gradual change. And if you have a high ratio, what it does is it actually keeps it from introducing a lot of artifacts into the audio. Another advanced feature is something called side chaining. Alright, now this is the bass track, and let's put the compressor down here like this, and we'll turn up the ratio a little. You can see, make it, bring this down a little, 2 to 1. Little less threshold. Now you can see the compressor is actually doing what we've told it to do. Is once the bass has crossed a certain threshold, we'll reduce the gain a little bit and keep it kind of level. The thing with side chaining is I can actually reduce this gain based on a completely different track. Let's do this. I'm going to turn on side chaining. Now you notice it's not doing anything. If you look in this meter over here, that is my voice coming through the internal microphone. And if I speak loud enough, or I bring this down here to where I can actually cross that threshold, let me do it again. And again. See, I have actually applied a compressor with the sound of my voice. So I'm actually side chaining my voice through the microphone, through the compressor, and I am compressing the bass based on the level of my voice. So that's one of the advanced features. Is kind of neat. Why would we want to use this? Well, bass and drums are notorious for stepping on each other all the time, and sometimes you would like to have one actually compress the other, depending on which one you want to come through the mix a lot nicer. So to say, you'd want to hear the bass in certain sections of the song when then the kick drum is taken over, well, you can actually compress based on the other track and vice versa. So that's just some of the things you can do with sidechain compression. Thank you for listening, and hope you have a good one.